What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Party on Broad. Today we are breaking down Eagles versus Ravens. Also kind of doing a little scouting report as they are taking on the Chargers as we currently stand. Joining us, he is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. What's good, Ryan?
Not much. Excited to be talking another Victory Monday, as that's 7 in a row, and we're looking pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Of course, he is Rob Lange joining us at Philly_Madness. What's up, Rob?
This is getting to be really fun. Game in and game out. We're like, this is the one. This is going to be the test. And then, mainly second half, but this team is just blowing the doors off of people. And it's not blowing the doors off the Cleveland Browns or the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's, beating the hell out of the Washington Commanders when everyone said, how are you going to slow that offense down? Then it's, oh my God, Cooper Kupp and Puka. Yeah, now we're really going to see what this defense is. And they just keep answering the bell. And it's so much fun. And I mean, last night it's way too many areas to talk about because they were all so much fun. So I'm loving it. I want it to continue, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
All right, let's jump right into this thing. Top takeaways from last week. Not gonna lie, I woke up this morning sad. Anybody else? Like, it's a bittersweet morning going through the whole Brandon Graham shit. I'm not gonna lie, like, I was as excited as I was from the win last night. The emotions were in full effect. Anybody else feel that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I felt bad for I felt bad for Brandon Graham. I really did, especially with he played so well last night. I mean, but it did not take away from the victory for me. I know a lot of people wanted it to, but at the end of the day, here's what I know. That all we heard all week was this was the game to tell us if the Eagles are actually a good team or not. If they can go on the road and get a close win, all of that. They went on the road and absolutely dominated a team who, by the way, needed this game from a record standpoint, from a standing standpoint, a hell of a lot more than the Eagles did after the Commanders lost yesterday and everything else. Yep. And they bullied them. Yep. I mean, they went as far as Jalen Carter bullying the kicker after he missed a kick. He bumped into him and said shit to him. And I loved every minute of it. I loved everything about last night. And it was like, listen, 6 years ago, there was a big win in LA, and I didn't enjoy it because of an injury, and I wasn't going to do that to myself again. And as much as I feel terrible for Brandon Graham, and I hope he comes back for another year, I can't believe I'm saying that because I just hate how this is ending for him. I can't let that take away from the win.
Hold on, real quick. Here's Brandon Graham after the game.
Oh, really? Yeah, I got chipped. Got hit in my elbow to my tricep, but man, hey, I told the boys, man, we got the mission. The mission's still the mission. We pour everything we can into this game. If I say I trust God, I trust God. So I'm just enjoying myself. I'm about to enjoy this little rehab, and then I'm about to enjoy leading the team the rest of the year. As soon as I can be back out there, I'm gonna be out there. But man, boy.
That hits. That hits me at least.
It hits. But media members are. You know what I noticed from there? Media members are heartless. He puts that out there, and the one guy goes, "Oh, really?" Like,
really?
And he just starts tweeting. He started tweeting.
Meanwhile, he's like, "What?
That was unbelievable.
He's had a great year too. Like
He
he
really
was
has.
phenomenal last night. There
Well-
were stretches of this season he was their best edge rusher, especially early on this season. Any thoughts, Ryan?
Yeah, listen, it sucks. It's a position that we are already really thin at. We're probably our weakest spot on the defense. We already have Bryce Huff on IR. So yeah, from a team standpoint, it sucks. From a leadership standpoint, it sucks. From the fact that Brandon Graham was unfortunately probably our best defensive edge player, then yeah, it definitely sucks. I try not to get too sentimental. Um, there's something about Brandon Graham that I don't know. I feel like he doesn't have his kind of claws in me like some other people. And I might just be a heartless bastard.
Well, that you are. We know that.
Right. But I didn't really feel that sadness that a lot of people are
Okay.
going through today. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Brandon Graham. I love what he's done for this franchise. I've met him a few times. He's one of the few jerseys that I have that are actually signed. He's an absolute Eagles legend. And I think it's more or less also too that I'm kind of already convinced that he was coming back regardless for next year. So,
Dude, a man by the name of Crabby Old Man is calling you out.
Yeah,
On your heartlessness. Which, by the way, Crabby Old Man, I appreciate your stance on this is BG. It stings more. Think back to 2017 and tell me the entire city wasn't in tears when he went down in what we thought, and eventually it was a Super Bowl year. But at that moment, none of us.
yeah.
We
We
thought
were
that,
all lined up. We were all
The
yeah,
darkest days.
we were all lined up on the freaking bridge. You can't compare because it's different. We don't have that. The Wentz doesn't have that sentimental grip on this Eagle fan base. He didn't at that point. He doesn't ever. He's just a guy at this point. But at the time, we knew how important he was to us winning and how important he was to getting where we were. And it stung a whole lot more. This is a different sting. This is a more of like, all right, this may not hurt us too much from a team standpoint. Like, I'm pretty sure we can get around it.
Yep.
But yeah, from a Eagles legend point, yeah, it's a different feeling. I'm just not letting myself get into it. That's all.
All right. Let's jump into our top takeaways real quick. I'm going to take the layup. Give me Cooper DeJean versus Cooper Kupp. That was just unbelievable. A guy that has put up almost 2,000 yards in a season, like one of the top slot receivers in the NFL. That's Puka Nacua, by the way. But anyway, there it is. There it is. But he was just awesome. I mean, I could go through the numbers. 5 receptions on 9 targets, 40 yards. Is this guy playing like an all-pro? Like, At what point do we start to say, like, both him and Quinyon? Quinyon didn't have the best game last night, as we have seen or expected in weeks prior. But Cooper DeJean, the Eagles have not lost since he's been put into this starting lineup, and he's a huge part of this. The Eagles are suddenly the best third down defense in the NFL. What the hell?
Cooper Look, Cooper and Quinyon Mitchell's game is not terrible at all if you take out the garbage time touchdown that was scored. I mean, even the one completion I saw Quinyon give up, he was all over the receiver. It was just good throwing ball, good catch.
And it was all over the touchdown too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what these two guys are doing. It's not just unheard of here. I mean, it's absolutely unheard of here. But it is unheard of in the NFL for 2 rookie corners to come in and have this much domination over their opponents. I mean, yes, Puka got his last night. He had 9 catches, over 120 yards. But you kept Cooper Kupp, like you just said, fairly silent in the game outside of the touchdown, which doesn't count because it's 37-14. And they had, guys that haven't played at all in the game. It's incredible what they're doing, and I think it speaks to Vic Fangio. It speaks to the position coach. It speaks to a variety of different people. It speaks to Howie Roseman, and it speaks to, let's face it, it speaks to the luck of the draft that somehow, some way, you got both of these guys in that draft is incredible.
Real quick, according to Next Gen Stats, Cooper DeJean allowed 3 receptions for 11 yards on 5 targets as the nearest defender in coverage against Cooper Kupp.
Damn.
It's awesome. Ryan, what's your top takeaway?
That Saquon Barkley is the friggin' man. Like, seriously, I swear, if I have another kid, I might name him Saquon. I don't care what that looks like. I absolutely love this man. He is already one of the greatest Eagles signings in our history, and he might go down as one of the greatest running back signings of all time. He is on pace to not only break the rushing record, but the all-purpose yards record. Like, the fact of the matter is, you got this guy who was in hell in that awful offensive line in New York, on that awful turf in New York. Well, I should say New Jersey. And listen, he wasn't his full self. You bring him here, he has an actual offensive line to run behind. He has an actual offensive coordinator that knows how to use him. And he also doesn't have to play on that god-awful turf
That
8 or 9 times. Exactly. This man is a machine. He's a machine. He's the greatest running back. I think he's already the greatest running back in Eagles history.
He's incredible. He's incredible. The things he does on a football field. And he just keeps going.
Yeah.
And I think I don't want to talk about the one thing until it's my turn to give my top takeaway, because it has to do with somebody else or some other people as well. But he's not getting touched.
Yeah.
He's not being touched. He's not taking a beating. Even at 26 carries a game, it's not, outside of when he got hit in what I heard someone today called his little Saquons. Yes, he did get hit in the little Saquons, and that seems like it hurt. But outside of that,
Saquons.
That's what someone called it earlier today. I thought that was pretty good. It's just so damn impressive.
Listen, he's wearing teams down. That is the thing. I don't think I truly understood the beauty of him, is that he's such a powerful runner, and that he's gonna hit you, and he's gonna hit you, and he's gonna hit you. And by the third and the fourth quarter, you don't want to get hit anymore. That's why he's going to run for 70 yards, and you're just going to put your arm out, and he's going to run through it like he's getting on the subway. It's not happening. So that's the beauty of Saquon. He's just going to wear your team down every time, guaranteed. Saquon is inevitable.
I love when Ryan gets real close to the camera. I love every minute of that speech right there.
Saquon is on pace for 2,100 plus rushing yards, 2,500 plus scrimmage yards, 18 touchdowns. That would shatter the NFL single season rushing record by Eric Dickerson. It would shatter the all-time scrimmage yards by Chris Johnson.
What is Eric Dickerson's record?
What is what?
What's the number?
It's 2105. 5.
2105.
And think about it. Think about all the touchdowns that he's lost from the tush push.
That's crazy.
Honestly, he'd probably be up there to break the touchdown record, or at least be on pace. I
think someone said it's like 8 or 9 times that he's lost touchdowns to that.
Yeah. So
Barkley needs 861 scrimmage yards the final 6 weeks of the season to break the record. He's going to do it unless they rest him. It's possible.
Do it in one last game, and then nobody can say, "Oh, you have one more game to do it."
You know how nice it is to hold a bet slip of plus 6,000 for Saquon Barkley to win MVP.
Nice. How much you throw down on it?
I very little. I threw $20 to win 1,200, and FanDuel was so excited right now that they tried to pay me out. They tried to buy me out for $120 last night after the game.
Are you kidding me?
They were like, cash out for 120 now. I'm like, nope.
Nah, bro. No,
I'm
bro.
waiting, brother.
All right, Rob, what was your top takeaway, man?
My top takeaway is that this offensive line and Jeff Stoutland are unbelievable, right? You lose a Hall of Fame center to retirement. You don't know who your right guard is, so you sign a former first-round pick right tackle and say, well, we could play him at guard. And you have dominated and you have gotten better. They've only played, 6 of the games together because of injury. But my God, like Mekhi Becton at right guard, when they're running the ball and he's running downhill at someone, has got to be frightening. I mean, this was a Rams defensive line that everyone has been talking about, how good they've been, how strong they've been. Jared Verse is the ultimate rookie of the year. And I'm not saying that they're not good players. They are. But my God, did the Eagles offensive line go crazy yesterday. Here's the deal. What was it? I think I heard 215 of the yards came before contact for Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
That means no one is touching him until he's getting to at least the second line of defense, and sometimes it's the third line. It's incredible the job these guys are doing, and they are huge. They are just a big behemoth. What did Jason Kelsey was going off about it today before the game, and he said it's like the weight, their combined weight is like that of a polar bear coming down at you. He said it's like they're marching polar bears down at you to give Saquon Barkley holes. And I love it. I love every minute of it. And I love this offensive line, especially with all the fears we had. And you look at Cam Jurgens, who's just falling into the role as good as we could have hoped for.
Saquon Barkley has 4.5 yards before contact per attempt and has roughly 300 plus yards on Derrick Henry for most in the NFL. Derrick Henry's obviously playing right now. That's nuts, man. And we saw that. We've seen this in seasons past with previous running backs, but it's just nuts, man. Saquon is literally free. Any other takeaways before we get on to top storylines?
Jake Elliott doesn't miss anymore. He's back, baby.
He's back.
all the way back.
We're all the way back in, baby. Let's go.
They were 20-yard field goals, but he's back.
Yeah, listen, I could probably kick them as well, but still.
Easy. Pat McAfee will bring you out and embarrass you in front of thousands of people.
I mean.
All right, let's get to the top storyline. I'm going to go – what? Oh, Eric. I'm going to go Jalen Hunt. His time to shine. Give me Jalen Hunt. I don't expect them to bring anybody in with Brandon Graham now done for the season. I'm interested to see what Jalen Hunt does as that next man up. He's only played 42 snaps on defense this season. A couple weeks ago, he got his first chance to get real snaps. Kind of had a quiet game, made a play there. But overall, it was just a quiet game. But for me, give me Jalen Hunt as a guy that could be an interesting name to watch. What's your top storyline, Ryan?
Yeah, listen, the top storyline is stopping the rushing attack of the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson is an absolute stud. He makes Jaden Daniels, look like Peyton Manning. And then you also have, Derrick Henry, who is just a monster of a human being that somehow, is the defensive end that's somehow playing running back. So it's going to be the rushing attack of the Baltimore Ravens. That's the storyline for me. And whether or not the Eagles can slow them down will dictate whether or not they will be able to dictate their own things in the offensive side of the ball.
Yep, it's going to be strength versus strength. The Ravens have given up the second fewest rushing yards this season. They're only allowing 77 yards on the ground per game. That's second best and a league low 3.4 yards per attempt. I have a feeling that number is going to change big time a week from today. Rob, what's your top storyline?
I think my top storyline, there's a lot of them, but I think the one that I'm going to go with is, do the Eagles attack the Ravens' weakness? Yes, we know that the Eagles are a running team. We know that is their identity. We know all of that at this point, but you can throw on this damn team. And let's not act like A.J. Brown. I mean, no one's talking about him today because of what Saquon did, but every time he caught the ball yesterday, he got yacked. There was yards after the catch every single time he caught the ball. So is this a day where, yeah, you're obviously going to give it to Saquon, but are you going to bait them in the coming down and then just start beating them over the top? You don't know if Devontae is going to play, but you can throw on this team. And my storyline is, will the Eagles stick to the run, or will they try and pass a lot early and then use the run late to wear down the Ravens defense and put a win together?
Yeah, that's a good one. We can just combine this with matchups to watch. Ravens are kind of a sloppy team. You look at some of the numbers here. They have a lot of penalties. They lead the NFL in penalties, which is pretty interesting. They have 92 penalties. That's 10 more than the most second most penalized team. Most penalty yards, 763. Something to watch, especially against an Eagles team that has somewhat shot itself in the foot a few times on offense, especially. Vic Fangio versus Lamar Jackson. Ryan, you nailed it. That is going to be key. Lamar specifically hasn't really been using his legs the last 4 weeks. In the Ravens' first 7 games, he averaged 65 rushing yards a game. In the last 4 games, he hasn't surpassed 50 rushing yards in any of those games. So he's coming off a game against the Steelers where he was very bad. It was a solid defense. We'll see how he does here against the Chargers.
He just threw an absolute dime for a touchdown.
Did he really? I
oh
did
my
not
God.
see it. I did.
It was a hell of a catch too, but it was a dime.
I'm gonna have to watch the highlights or replay of that.
Who caught it?
Unfortunately, Rashad Bateman and not Zay Flowers.
So maybe, possibly, could this be? I don't know. We'll see. It's too early. But anyway, any other matchups to watch you want to bring up?
I will just say, storyline wise, Jalen Carter is a throwback Iron Man, and it's not going to show up on the stat sheet. But when you take into consideration, he played the first 51 snaps again last night before they started pulling guys for the bench, which means I think they said back to week 10, he played over 120 straight snaps at defensive tackle. That doesn't happen.
Wow.
This doesn't happen. And not only that, 79% of the time he was facing a double team. Listen, Milton Williams was great yesterday, but he was getting to win one-on-one battles because Jalen Carter was taking on double teams all night. The Eagles got one-on-one battles and give those guys credit. They took advantage of it. But the reason that's happening is because Jalen Carter is a freak of nature, and you have to double him that much in a game to slow him down. It's incredible.
Next man up for Cooper DeJean. Looking at Zay Flowers. He's a guy that plays 41% of his snaps in the slot. He is the team's second leading receiver in targets, receptions, and receiving yards. He has 4 games of 100-plus receiving yards. So, he's a guy that can go inside and out, but next one up for Cooper DeJean to take out. That'll be really fun to watch. I've always been a big Zay Flowers guy. I know Ryan knows. He was one of my guys back in the draft. process during that year. I think that was like 2 years ago.
Where did he go to
That's one
school?
to watch. What?
Where did he go to school?
Zay Flowers, Boston. No, I'm thinking Boston College for some reason.
No, it was didn't he go to Florida? Somewhere in Florida, right?
Boston College.
Was it
Nailed
Boston
it.
College?
I don't know how I knew that.
Boston's close to Florida, though, Rye. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, he's from Florida, so maybe that's what it was. I am correct in that. Thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right. All right. Let's get to our next segment, which is Eagles fill in the blank. Maybe that's why I was so high on Donovan Ezeraku, Ryan. Remember I was talking about him from Boston College?
Right.
Maybe I'm secretly a Boston College fan. I don't know.
Maybe. And listen, they are the Eagles, so
yeah. All right. Let's get to our next segment. Eagles fill in the blank. The Eagles will beat the Ravens because Rob.
The Eagles will beat the Ravens because they will take advantage of the issues that have been plaguing the Ravens all year. So they will take advantage of the pass defense. They will take advantage of the fact that the Ravens have beat themselves even more than the Eagles have in terms of, really bad penalties at really bad times. Ryan's just bored with me. Look at him just back there yawning at my response. Unbelievable. The Eagles will do what they've been doing lately, which is being able to take advantage of the areas of weakness on their opponents. And what that's going to do is soften them up, and then you start hitting them with the Saquon Barkleys. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you see Saquon Barkley even more in the pass game this week as well, to get them at the ball in space. I mean, they ran a screen to perfection for the first time since Andy Reid's been here on that 3rd and 10, in the second half of the game. So I'll say that's why the Eagles win. They're going to take advantage of the Ravens' weaknesses.
Love it. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, that is obviously. It's Saquon friggin' Barkley. I mean, listen, right now, the Ravens defense is a little banged up, and if that continues, they're obviously in LA right now. They got to fly back. They got a shorter week. We've obviously had a little bit more rest than they did. We had the little mini bye the previous week, and all that's all fun, but basically we're gonna beat them down. We're gonna wear them down, and we're going to Saquon all over the Ravens. It's going to be a bloodbath. Honestly, we are going to expose the Ravens. I don't think that after this game, people are going to look at the Ravens and be like, "Oh, I guess they're not a great team," because the Ravens aren't going to have the room to throw the ball. We are going to keep Lamar contained. We have the big bodies in Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis to go head-to-head with Derrick Henry. And nobody's stopping Saquon at this point. And their pass defense is god-awful. Well, should have Devontae back with AJ and full strength. Again, they're not stopping us, but my main reason is Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, that's mine too. Weirdly, the Baltimore Ravens are bottom tier in terms of time of possession, which is really interesting. I wouldn't expect that. The Eagles are number 2 in the NFL in time of possession. The Eagles will lose to the Ravens because I think it's just execution. I'm going to just leave it to executing in the red zone. The Baltimore Ravens are right there as one of the best red zone offenses in the NFL. They have put up some crazy numbers, 77.8% conversion rate in the red zone. That's wild. And you look at the Eagles defense, they're like mid-tier in the red zone. And then that's my take is the Eagles can't get off the field. And they're not they're not keeping the Ravens out of the end zone, and they're not getting off the football field. It's all related to the run game and things like that. So, Ryan, where are you going? The Eagles lose to the Ravens because
I guess I'll just have to lie and say something here. I guess the Eagles will lose if the defense gets worn down. And listen, Derrick Henry, one of the best. He's the second right now in rush yards in the league. So that's not by chance. He's a big dude. He is punishing as well. He can be stopped, but he has a way of just absolutely wearing down teams as well. And listen, we're already down a couple of guys on our line. We're thin. If somebody else even goes down just for the game, that might spell some trouble for us. That might, mean that we're going to have to rely on people a little bit more than what we were planning on. And I think that domino effect could certainly come back and bite us in the ass. But that all starts with Derrick Henry. King Henry is he's a great running back. I mean, he's no Saquon, obviously, but he's right there.
What about you, Rob?
So I was going to say something along the lines of the defensive line not having the bodies and all that stuff, but since Ryan went that way, I'll go this way. The Eagles will lose because the Ravens will stifle the Eagles' run and they won't be able to find another way to win. My fear right now is because of the way that Saquon is playing, Jalen Hurts is in a perfect scenario to do just what he's been doing. The fear is if it gets to the point where it has to be in his hands more to throw the ball, to make the right decisions, to go over the middle of the field, will he be able to be successful in that? That's where I think is if this is a game where Saquon can't, get it going, will the Eagles be able to do enough through the passing game to win the game? So I'll go with that as my fill in the blank there.
All right. Any word on Devontae Smith with the hamstring injury when he might be returning? Do you guys heard anything?
I haven't heard anything
yet, but I'm sure we'll learn a little bit more come tomorrow and Wednesday whether or not he's even limited. I would assume again from what I thought that he was close to being able to play. So if that was the case, I would assume another week a rest, he should be all right.
All right, let's get to X factors to watch. I kind of already spoiled mine, but I'm going to stick with Jalen Hunt. I think he's a guy that definitely could get an uptick in snaps. He only had 24 snaps on the D-line last week, 25 3 weeks ago. Didn't have any week 11, didn't have any week 9. So there could be definitely a major increase. What about you, Ryan? Who's your
I'm sorry, Rob. Rob, are we boring you?
No, you're just keeping me awake, but go ahead.
Okay. Listen, it's Milton Williams.
Damn it, Ryan.
He is going to be relied upon to cover for BG. They're going to kick him some outside. He's going to be playing some edge there, so don't be shocked when it happens. And Rob, that was my early Christmas gift, stealing your thunder once again. Sweet.
I literally didn't pick a backup because I was like, no one's going to pick Milton Williams. So I'm not even going to pick a backup. So give me a second here. Let's think. I mean, I don't know if this counts because he's a main player, but as I've tried, shut up, you. As I tried to say, I think the passing game is going to have to reign supreme, and because of that, I'm going to go with AJ. I'm going to go with AJ Brown because I think it's because I don't think it could just be a 5-catch game for AJ Brown. I think it's going to be a 10-11 catch game for AJ Brown. I'm talking 10-11 catches, 170 plus yards, 3 scores. Like the game against, who was it? Pittsburgh, when he had the 3 scores a couple years ago or last year. It has to be a monster AJ Brown game, because I got to be honest with you, Ryan, I don't think it will be a monster Saquon game. I do believe that Saquon's going to be stopped, and it's going to be up to Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown to go bonkers on Sunday.
I have never in my life
found the X Factor.
I've ever heard of a all-pro being the X Factor when clearly the name of the game is to get somebody that you wouldn't automatically.
Well, guess what? Here's the problem. If I said Cooper DeJean, he's an all-pro. He's a freaking all-pro.
And he's literally not, but that's okay. I mean, listen, the only thing that could have been worse if you would have said like Jalen Hurts. Oh boy, a quarterback.
On this team, it's run through Saquon Barkley.
That's right.
So on a day when it's not going to be him, somebody else has to step up.
Hey, Krabby, that's enough of that.
Yeah, just
I like that pick better than AJ Brown.
you can feel any way you want to about it. The fact of the matter is, as I said, I had one guy, jackass up there, took him from me. So where else to go?
I mean, smart guy? Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Here you go. Here's one for you. Nakobe Dean. And why? Because if Zach Baun has to go and play someone on the edge, that means that's more responsibility for Nakobe Dean at the linebacker position. You're just mad because Gainwell looked great last night. You're just mad, Ryan.
Oh, please. Gainwell's trash.
He's been running hard, man. He's been running hard. Got to give him credit. I love the Heroes reference. Play Gainwell, win the game. Save the cheerleader. Save the world.
Save the world. I'm actually rewatching that.
It's so good. The first seasons were good. Then it got
then it got weird.
Did you catch up on Cobra Kai?
Well, you know what? Rube can go kick rocks too then.
Cobra Kai was awesome. Oh,
Cobra Kai was great. Ridiculous, but great.
Oh, it's ridiculous in all the right ways. Like
having an absolute brawl was the dumbest thing ever, but I was locked in.
What season is it now?
It's on the final season. It's 6, but it's in 3 parts. The second part just came in.
Which I didn't realize it was. And when they ended, before it popped up, I was like, what the hell are you doing to me? But then it made sense.
Listen, Krabby, I am always correct about the backup running backs. I'm just saying I knew there was something wrong with Smallwood. And now look at him. 50 years in jail. Coincidence? No.
He should be in jail for stealing money from the Eagles for all that.
You're right. But he's a creep and a loser. And I hope he spends 51 years in jail.
Oh, now you got him.
All right.
Not so funny. All right.
Let's get to score predictions. The day I can replace that one clip of Quinyon Mitchell returning an interception from Toledo with a real Eagles pick six. Oh my God!
I thought he had it this week, but he was just it was a little overthrown for him.
All right, score predictions. Rob, what's your gut saying right now?
It's so funny because I went into these 2 weeks thinking, all right, the Eagles will go 1-1, and then I watched the way they played last week, last night, and I've changed my mind. I'm going to say 30-27 Birds. I do think it will be a little bit higher scoring because I do think you have two prolific offenses. I do think you're going to see some big plays on both sides. This doesn't mean that I think the Eagles defense is not very good. I just think Lamar Jackson's a different animal. He's a different animal than most quarterbacks, right? So I think it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to live up to the hype. I'm hoping with it being against the Ravens, it could be a Jim Nantz game. I love to hear Jim Nantz. I don't know if it's on Fox or on CBS. But I'm going to go 30-27 Birds. And I got to tell you, up until last night, I've had this game as a loss for a long time. And between watching the Ravens against a team that can bully them in Pittsburgh and watching what the Eagles did to a pretty damn good offense last night in the Rams, I'm feeling much, much more confident today. So I'll say 30-27.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat. I'll just go. I'm going to go 30-28 Eagles. And yeah, what about you, Ryan?
75-0.
The over-under is at 50.5. Pound it over. I don't understand.
Have I ever been that? Yeah, I'm going to say 30-24.
Okay.
Ravens, listen, they've only once been held under 20 points this year. And that was just recently to Pittsburgh. Time before that, it was their season low was 20 points. So they're pretty much usually getting that 24, 27, that range. So I'm going to say that they get in that 24 range. But we get actually, you know what? I'm going to kick it up to 31 points, 31-24.
31-24. I got 32-28. Rob's got 30-27. All right, let's wrap it up. Rob, final thoughts. Eagles versus Ravens. Plugs. Time's yours.
I'm so excited for this game, and for the longest time, I looked at this game and said, "Well, this might be a blemish on the game, but that's okay." They're in Baltimore. I don't know if they. I can't tell you if they've won down there in the regular season. If they have, it's been a long time. I know that they've lost their last two, I'd say, down there. I was at one where, was it Kevin Cobb who threw the interception to Ed Reed in the end zone and he returned it 107 yards? I can't remember. But I remember being at the game. That was probably 8 to 12 years ago. That was probably 12 years ago. So they might have lost their last three down there.
They have not beaten Baltimore in Baltimore. They had a tie in 1997.
Jesus.
They have not beaten.
Yeah, 10-10.
Yes, but listen, this team, I know it's early. I know there's still 6 weeks left, 7 weeks left in the season, but this team's really good, and they're just proving it week in and week out right now. And I don't know how you can doubt them right now. And then even if they lose this week, I don't know if you could come out back here on next Monday and be, oh, that was all fool's gold. No, they're good. They are a good football team. And I think it's just going to roll through this weekend.
All right. What about you, Ryan? Final thoughts, plugs?
Yeah, listen, this is definitely a barometer game. Baltimore has certainly been talked about as, an AFC favorite. And, we certainly have a good test here. I feel like we passed
Philly.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not preseason, right?
No, it was a regular season game, and the final score was 15-10. Why I remember that, I have no idea. But the final score was 15-10.
You are correct. It was 15-10, and that was what, 2004, right? It wasn't it Halloween? It was Halloween, right?
It was right around. It was definitely in October.
Yeah. So anyway,
I'm looking at the last game, 2000 and what was this? 2020. The leader in tackles for the Eagles, Nate freaking Gary.
Oh, that's gross. But
just
but
made
I
me
will
throw
say
up in my
that,
mouth.
yeah, I know exactly. Why do you got to end on a sour note? I drank bleach trying to forget him. But yeah, listen, this is going to be a fun game. Either way, Lamar Jackson is such a fun player to watch. I was hoping to be going down to this game, but unfortunately, I couldn't end up swinging it. But yeah, this is going to be a great game, and we'll see exactly where we are, kind of in the league. And now we just really got to hope that the Lions slip up somewhere, and we get ourselves a shot at hopefully the number 1 seed. But the NFC East looks like a friggin' joke. Anybody see that Dallas Washington game? The last 2 minutes just was like 70 points. Terrible.
I walked out. I didn't even see it. I left my living room thinking the game was over after the kick return by Turpin.
Yeah.
And I come back, and I don't know how. I have a Washington Commanders fan in the group chat, and I guess he just was too distraught to say it. So I had no idea. And then I come back in, and I'm like, and I got an update from ESPN that said, watch the crazy ending in Washington. I was like, wasn't that crazy? And then I turned it on. I'm like, holy
shit. I sat there and watched every second of it. And honestly, there wasn't a single second that I wasn't belly laughing. It was just the best thing to ever witness. But listen, outside of that, you can follow me on X at Philly Sports PSA. I got shows in different area codes. We got some on Party on Broad. We got some on Eagles Pinball Network. If you're not subscribed to both of the YouTubes, please do so. Check us out anywhere where you find your podcast.
Just mute his mic.
No, absolutely not. I am an inevitability. That is
inevitability, then you can be an inevitability.
I said inevitability. I said it.
That was a bit of a struggle. For you.
All right. Well, you know what? Listen, I may have had a few drinks, so leave me alone. Anyway, go Birds. F the Ravens. Edgar Allan Poe is a bum. He's overrated.
Yo, you're talking to a former English teacher, bro. Easy there.
I don't give a crap. Edgar Allan Poe's on the chopping block right now.
This is what you need to understand, and this is why I hate Baltimore. Edgar Allan Poe wrote more in Philadelphia than he did in Baltimore. Okay? He wrote more of his better stories right here. He wrote The Raven here. The Raven was written here.
That I didn't know.
We own The Raven, and we will own the Ravens. Boom.
Okay. There you go.
Book it.
Well, listen, Captain English teacher, all right? Should I stand on the chair and say my captain?
No, because I was the type of English teacher who would have pushed you off of it.
Exactly. This is the comment right here from Q. Poe catching strays. You're damn right.
Yeah. I mean, you can answer the Ravens all you want, but leave my guy out of it.
You know what? Screw Babe Ruth too.
And by the way, is this a week we can't say "Go Birds"?
No, we own "Go Birds."
I know, but it's like
our language. This is our language. We say "Go Birds."
Good point. I'll give it to you.
You hold the door for somebody. You say "Go Birds."
Did you guys ever watch the Edgar Allan Poe show, The Fall of the House of Usher? Did you watch that?
I didn't watch the show because.
Love it.
I felt I'll be honest with you. As someone who loved the story, The Fall of the House of Usher, I felt very fearful that it was going to get bastardized and didn't want to, I would have rather it been, almost verbatim for what the story was. And then I would have, but sometimes when they do that, today's stance on an old school story, it can be a little bit, Yeah. And I was afraid because and there are a million of his stories that I would love to see done in like a in like a series.
Yeah.
Murders in Rue Morgue. Why are we talking about it? Jesus Christ, you guys are getting.
That was a great show. That was
I'm
the
a
only
nerd for
good
him.
thing Poe ever did.
I'm a nerd for Edgar. I love Edgar Allan Poe. Tell me you can read. Tell me you can read The Pit and the Pendulum and not feel anxiety the entire time you read it. I guarantee you can't. Sorry.
I mean,
It's a good show. Now, it wasn't the standard of like The Haunting of Hill House. If you ever watched that, that was
now, Haunting of Hill House was scary as all hell.
Yeah.
I like sweat. I didn't sleep for 3 weeks,
Yeah.
but
I'm out.
the House of the Usher was just so beautifully done.
yeah, it's really well
just
done.
just up and
I
down.
don't do horror. My big thing is I don't do horror. So if
It's not scary. The Haunting of Hill House or the Fall of the House of Usher is not.
No, it's not like scary. It's just suspenseful.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I still haven't watched Stranger Things out of pure fear.
No, it's not scary at all.
Scary at all.
My daughter has watched the entire show. She's 9. I refuse to watch it.
My God. Thanks, Oldman.
All right, guys. We will be live tomorrow night at Eagles Pinpool, Birds of the Round Table, 8:00. Come hang out with us. Talk more Eagles versus Ravens and Rams and Saquon and everything else in between. He is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. That's Rob at Philly_Madness. For Ryan, for Rob, for myself, stay awesome. And yes, go Gainwell.